Good afternoon, my dear viewers. Once again, this is Dr. Paul M. Kibicho, PhD, BHSC. And at this point in time, I want us now to look at another angle in life. Generally the world has been demarcated by use of what we call boundaries. So what separates Kenya from Tanzania, from Uganda, from Ethiopia, from Somalia? It is purely boundaries. Now, within those particular jurisdictions, we have people we refer to as leaders. Now, we want to ask ourselves today, what kind of leaders do we have in Kenya? Not only in Kenya, but generally wherever they are. What kind of leaders do we have? What are these competencies that we require to check so that we can be talking of our leaders from an informed point of view? Thank you very much. Once again, live on my TikTok page. You can like it. You can gift me if you want. I don't mind gifts because that is how life is. So let me talk about leadership. So when we talk about boundaries, we must know that boundaries are actually we can call them markings to define ownership of something or of a country so that disputes can be avoided. So the Harvard University, they carried the Harvard Business Review, they carried a very, very important survey on what we call leadership competencies. Leadership competencies. Do you know that some people we call leaders, they are not leaders, by the way? They were either favored by the situation. There are people who get favored by the situation and they find themselves becoming leaders, not because they have any quality of a leader. And as a matter of fact, we have people in leadership positions not because they had the competencies, the skills, the abilities, the capacity to be in those positions. They were favored by a number of factors, and therefore they found themselves being leaders. And some people that we call leaders, they are leaders not because, once again, they merit to be called leaders. Because what makes a good leader? Yeah, what makes a good leader? Number one, any leader without ethics is not a leader. Because a leader should be a role model. Even in our own families, I have got my own children. How do I behave? How do I handle their mother in the first place? The way I handle my mother, their mother, tells a lot about me. Because leadership begins at home. So what kind of a leader are you? So if a leader, we have got 5 themes of competencies. A leader must have what we call high ethical standards and providing a safe environment. High ethical standards. High ethical standards means you cannot go uttering words in a very haphazard manner. You must ensure that your mental faculties are fully engaged before you start vomiting those kind of words that some leaders have this tendency of releasing to the public. It is not right. And I repeat, if you are a leader who speaks without, the Bible says, guard your tongue. Guard your tongue. Allow me today, I'm going even to go to the Bible because I want to make leaders today. I want those people so that when we go to the elections in 2027, we need to ask ourselves, are we getting leaders? What does the Bible say? I want to mention this in the Bible. Today, I'll base my talk. And then, thank you very much for the likes. Paulette Nash, Bila Eila, Yune, God sent, John Baptist. Thank you very much on the TikTok page. I really appreciate it. Nyawera Maina, thank you very much. Now, today, this is a discussion. Today, I decided to stay in my office. Yes, today I'm in my office. And I'm going to make sure that people must change. I'm looking forward to people changing so that come the year 2027, you don't go complaining. Who do you complain to? We have never had children voting. I repeat, we have never had children voting. And this is the time people refer to as elites. They get out of those cocoons of theirs. The fact that they are able to make both ends meet, they are also being affected by the politics of the day. So nobody would mind to have more than what he or she has at the moment. So even those people we call elites, people who think middle level, people with some income, good income, people who live in the suburbs, they also require to know that they get affected in one way or the other. Because if we have got so many people who are unemployed, By the end of the day, you cannot be comfortable driving your car home because the issue of insecurity increases. Let me go back to the Bible first. In the book of Proverbs, chapter 21, verses 23, hello, sir. Have been trying to issue Sikupati. Hey, CM Gedenji, have you really called me? CM Gedenji. Kindly please make sure that you text me immediately after this show. I haven't had any call from you. CM Gedenji, kindly text me on 07226 021. That would be criminal, Gedenji. I don't ignore people. And for those people who know me, they know I don't ignore people. So please, Haboji, my favorite and role model to many. Thank you so much. I don't have your number. I have given you my number live. Please, and don't call at this time, please. Just text me 0722 633 That is the number that I'm currently using for my TikTok page. So let me go back. I have said I'm going to give you 5 major themes of competencies that every strong leader must exhibit, so that by the time, whether it is in your office, anytime you are electing a leader, electing, not R, but L, make sure that this person exhibits those strong characters. So let's go back to the Bible so that we may know when I talk about a leader who suffers from what we call fabodiarrhea. Fabodiarrhea are those people who speak without necessarily engaging their mental faculties. There are people who do not calculate what ought to be said where, when, and to who. I wish you have gotten that word, Madam Helen KJ. So what does the Bible say? Those who guard their mouths and their tongues keep themselves from the calamity. Please note that and underline. I please generally note that and underline. Proverbs 21:23. That those who guard their mouths and their tongues keep themselves from calamity. This is one of the simplest Bible verses about being careful what you say. So please, make sure you guard your tongue. If you are a leader, like Kebisha is a leader, I lead in many fronts. Besides being a husband to somebody, a father to some children, I lead groups. I'm a board member board of management member in several institutions. I am the organizing secretary for doctorate holders of Nyeri County. I'm a lecturer in some universities here in Kenya. I'm a leader in our church. So I'm a leader. And of course, all of you listening to me are leaders. So number one, Lilian Wamaida, when are you coming to Inolo Rushine? I'll let you know, Madam Lilian Wamaida. I'll let you know. Thank you very much for those watching me on my TikTok page. Thank you for tapping. Thank you for the likes and gifts as well. I'll let you know, Madam. So let me repeat what I have read to you today, so that all of you may know. Proverbs 21:23. Those who guard their mouths and their tongues keep themselves from calamity. So there are those people, Tresia Wanjiro, who have got no courtesy at all. So a good leader, we are talking about the most important leadership competencies. And I'm now giving you what we refer to as the 5 major themes of competencies strong leaders must exhibit. Now, number one is high ethical standards and providing a safe environment. You cannot be a leader worth his name without guarding your territory in terms of your behavior, in terms of your integrity. A leader must be a person of integrity. What does integrity mean? He should not be involved in scandals. So anybody who has been involved in scandals, stealing money from public coffers, ought not to be a leader. In some jurisdictions, and I repeat that, allow me to adjust my camera a little bit. Thank you very much. In some jurisdictions, you can never be given any position in their jurisdictions if you have been convicted. And more so, if you have been involved in corrupt deals. Anybody who is corrupt should not be a leader, should not even lead. Even leading his home is criminal, because that is actually a thug by excellence. There is no other way to define that particular person. And I have been telling people, if you realize that your leader has stolen, for instance, a county governor has stolen money from the money that has been sent to them by by what we call Commission for Resource Allocation, CRA, that guy is actually a criminal. A criminal should not lead us anyway. So anybody who has been, anybody by all standards, who has been involved in corrupt deals is not a leader. He is not ethical. And that is what our constitution says. Article 10 or chapter 6 on leadership and integrity. That the person leading a certain group of people ought not to have been involved in corrupt deals, We know how many corrupt people we have in Kenya today. We are aware. We have got so many corrupt leaders who are even leading us in high profile offices. In some jurisdictions, these people, they have got no capacity and they ought not to lead. So ethical standards, how can somebody without ethical standards provide what we call an environment, a safe environment? So we require leaders. When we go to the polls in the year 2027, God willing, we do not require corrupt leaders. We require men and women of integrity, men of valor, gallant leaders, men without reproach, men beyond reproach. And we have no shortage of those kind of men. We are there. Yes, we know people who are there who can actually become our leaders. But I don't know what happens to Kenyans. What happens to Kenyans that you already know somebody has been convicted, somebody is a rat grabber, somebody has got serial cases in court because of stealing, others even because of raping women in hotels, and yet they are being called leaders. So as far as I'm concerned, those people should not be occupying those offices. It is violation of chapter 6 of our constitution because a leader who is corrupt should not be a leader. Leading who? Who is he leading? He has got no moral authority whatsoever to be called a leader by all standards. Hate me, like me, that is the position I have. If I'm scandalous, I should be referred as such. Scandalous. If I'm corrupt, I should be defined as such. There is no point of quoting a bitter pill because in the final analysis it becomes bitter. So people must be called by their names. They should be called out by their names. If somebody is corrupt, and I wish it is the high time the government of the Republic of Kenya gave effect to our constitution, where we follow constitution to the letter and spell it. Somebody who is corrupt by all definitions. Point number 2. We require leaders who empower individuals. A leader who empowers individuals. Allow me to explain this. Wiser 626. Hi, Dr. Kebicho, tuned in from Guinea Nyandalwa. Thank you very much. I'm happy when I see you telling me from here. Hi, Honorable George. Thank you very much. Vok, thank you very much. Ruse Morege, thank you very much. Anthony Yezumbe, thank you very much for following me on my TikTok page. I appreciate it. Mary Nedo, thank you very much for it and for the rights as well. Lila, thank you very much. I'm appreciating from wherever you are. Let me know. Yes. Let me proceed, Mr. Wiser. We have this morning, I listened to Ayub Abdikadir, and the guy really gave us a lot of information that we have what we call a budgeted corruption. Let me tell you, the aspect of our money, our leaders are not accountable. It pains me to the core when I see the Auditor General telling us that certain billions of shillings has been misappropriated. And I wonder, why is she informing us? We, the public, we are not the prosecutors. We have what we call the judiciary. We know the process of suing individuals who have stolen money. There is no point of informing us. It only makes us feel bad because we do not have the prosecutorial powers. That information should go to the relevant office, and those people who have embezzled public funds should feel the full consequences of law. It pains every Kenyan, and that is why Kenyans have problems paying the taxes. That's why Kenyans have problems paying the taxes. Because if you pay tax that will be embezzled, then it pains me to wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning to go looking for that 1,000 shillings. Then I pay tax. After paying that particular tax, another individual goes and embezzles those funds, buys a helicopter to come and start now creating fear and despondency to us, and to show to us that education does not matter, that education is not everything in life, that you have education, where have you gone? Useless, and what have you? Fine, but we require accountability. So I'm talking about so it is quite unfortunate. And I'm telling you, we have no problem, Mr. Michael Shege, paying taxes. And I repeat this. I have been to so many nations in the world, and I'm not blowing my own trumpet, but I'm saying this as a matter of fact. I have been to America not once, not twice. I've been to UK not 4 times. I have been to Greece. I have been to Belgium. I've been to Australia. I've been to Austria. I have been to Netherlands. I've been to Germany. I've been to Switzerland. I've been to Italy. I have been to Morocco. I've been to South Africa. I've been to Kigali. I've been to all those nations. And one thing that people know, if for instance you go to Switzerland, you pay taxes, yes, but when you go to hospital, you have drugs. That's a leader. Our roads have got no potholes. I'm so worried now as I speak that those roads that we have built the other day, now they have potholes. I drive and I know what I'm talking about. So why should we have potholes? And I'll talk about it without fear. that the reason as to why we have got potholes in the newly built roads is because the people concerned are corrupt. We have got corrupt resident engineers. We have corrupt individuals in the system who do not give the requirements of building those roads to the standards, and therefore their quality is compromised. After using it for 3, 4, 5 years, the load is worn out. Why? Corruption. We do not require corrupt leaders. Not really. We don't require corrupt leaders. We require people. Let me come to point number 2, Mr. Michael Shega, wherever you are, of Mathare Area 4. Hi, we are talking about empowering individuals. I have told people on a number of occasions that our leaders are very funny characters. They don't like empowering people. Like now they have added themselves CDF, NCDF to by 30 million Kenya shillings. The first question I ask now, I know I'm going to be very, very unpopular. The first question I ask is this. They have been given a lot of money. Has it been accounted for? Who is holding them to account? And I have always asked this question as the lawyer that I am. I tend to think that the work of parliamentarians is well defined. Their job is well cut. Their job is representation, oversight, and legislation. There is nowhere where spending the money from public coffers is mentioned, even in the constitution. But because they want to make themselves popular by having a budget that they can use to untwist and, of course, to do what it to actually, we say in English, they require some baits that they can use to owe the voters. They go looking for that money. That money should go to the governor, and the governor should also be held to account. We have got some governors who actually came to the office very poor. They could not even afford the 2 pairs of shoes. Now they are commenting on us. I can also say like that. We understand we have been seeing so many what we call behemoth projects, and when you listen to who are the owners of these projects, you hear them being pointed. So we are talking about empowering individuals. What does empowerment mean? Empowerment basically means these are the people who can come up with economic projects that can uplift the living standards of the people that he or she represents. But they can't do that because many leaders they live in crisis. We want to continually have Kibera, Kologosho, Mathare, and those other slums so that they can form what we call, they can protect their own constituents. They can have the bulk of people who vote for them because they live in misery. Empowered people. If you go to UK when they have general elections, you can't even tell because these people are economically empowered. People who are actually economically down, they can sing any tune, and that's why they get twisted because they did not have the currency. So we require leaders. I'm giving you what we call the 5 major themes of competencies that a strong leader must exhibit. So I'm looking forward to seeing our leaders economically empowering their people so that they can stand on their own feet. But you cannot perpetuate poverty so that you can get what we call that voting block to continually maintain you in parliament on leadership. That is not leadership. A good leader. And I want to remind our leaders from wherever they are watching me from, because I know some of them watch they also watch my programs, and they think I'm them, and they feel bad about me because I say as it is. Me, I speak as it is. Like me, hate me. After all, your love has not given me anything. If you have loved me in the past and you have done nothing to me, your love has been significantly zero. So me, I talk about things the way they are. We require leaders who can be able to empower. Why can't you and other enlightened leaders like Kagwe, Matiang'i, and Kioni marshal forces for change? That's a beautiful point. I'm liking that point. That's a very good thinking, Jonetti. So that's a very good point. I'll give you at the tail end of this show what happens. But thank you very much for your input. Look at Matiang'i, for instance. Oh my goodness. Look at even George Mahoga, professor, he did a good job. It's good to give credit where it deserves. During Matiang'i's time, there was no nonsense in the education sector. Matiang'i could understand what education entailed. Matiang'i, I'm telling you, that guy worked. Like him or hate him, Dr. Matiang'i was a good worker. He was a good government public officer. We go to this guy called Kagwe, Mutahi Kagwe. He did a commendable job. So we are saying leaders must empower their people. Empowering their people means let them be able to give them, do not give them a fish, give them a fishing rod so that they can be able to do things on their own. Because after all, those handouts, any leader who gives his people handouts is not a good leader at all. He is not a good leader. What? You're not a good leader because a good leader is the one who basically empowers individuals. He's the one who gives people a fishing rod so that when hunger strikes, they can go to the river and fish on their own. Now, let me ask, I have seen our leaders giving people out there. I have never, and I'm saying it before, but I've never been, I can't even take the 200 Kenya shillings. Not because I'm proud, but because why should I sell my birthright? Why should I sell my political birthright 200 shillings at the expense of 5 years? So when I see people complaining about their leaders, I just laugh at them. I laugh them off. And I tell them, I also tell them like what the chairman, the chair lady of UDA told the members of parliament. Give us a break. We know children vote. We have got no children that votes. People who vote are, I'm sure, men and women, adults, people with an ID, an identity card. So if somebody comes and convinces you to vote them in, when you know they have got no morals, they have got no values, and we have seen them being elected even to higher offices without mentioning them, because I'm a lawyer. You see somebody being elected as a governor, and he has got no managerial, he has got no management skills. But because he's an expert in giving handouts, he becomes a governor. He has no idea how a budget can be run. He has no idea what's a credit, what's a debit. He has no idea. Anyway, let me not go into that direction because I will feel bad. So I'm saying a good leader empowers. Empower people. Give your people the economic pathway so that they can be able to stand on their own. Do not rejoice when you see yourself as the king, as the queen, giving handouts of 200 Kenya shillings. That is, surely, that's not a leader. As far as I'm concerned, that is not a leader. A leader must empower the people he leads. But how many of us people, what kind of leaders do we have? I want first of all to congratulate Governor Kangata. Governor Kangata, I salute you. Your work is well. We can feel it. We can see. The Mulanga people, we can see. The Mulanga people, we can see the Kangata care. We can see Kangata coming up with an idea. That's a leader. If you see a leader trying to uplift, and I'm saluting you, Dr. Kangata. Once again, I salute you, Dr. Kangata. Let me not go to other issues, but I salute you, Bwana Kangata. You know, when you see a leader saying, if it comes to avocado, we do A, B, C, D, we form cooperative movements. If it is milk, we can be able even to fund you. We can even open a bank where you go and you collect goods and services to enable you to become a good farmer. That's a name, because you are basically empowering this individual so that he can be self-sufficient. This issue of relying on handouts has led this nation to where it is today. Anyway, let me go to the third point. I am looking forward, as much as our president is being criticized for sending people out there to work. Well, we must appreciate where we are at the moment. I have got no problem with His Excellency the President, Dr. William Samoei Ruto. I have no problem whatsoever. I know I'm going to become very unpopular on this, but I'm not here to please anyone. When the president realizes that we have got more labor supply than the market can absorb, then what do? You give the excess to those others. I know we shall argue because I'm an economist also. For those who don't know, I'm also an economist. I'm not ignorant. I know some of us people would say, why isn't the president creating an environment? Why isn't he coming up with companies? Companies must be created, yes. We require to have companies. But meanwhile, before those industries are built and operationalized, if we have got supply, we have what we call sufficient supply of labor, which is way above the market demand. We can also decide to export that and they start making money, which I have no problem with that. So I'm talking about promoting connection. A good leader promotes connection. What does connection mean? Any place that, like, you know, we have got so many Kenyans, by the way, who give us a lot of foreign exchange. I understand that the Kenyans living in America, they're the ones who send the biggest chunk of money from the biggest foreign exchange. They're the people even helping the economy. So if you can get, because you have what we call oversupply of labor, I'm not going to forgive the government for not creating an enabling environment to attract foreign direct investment where people can come and create industries. So I'm still challenging the government of the day. I'm actually challenging our president, our deputy president, that they need to create more, they need to create a conducive environment that can attract foreign direct investment. They come and they put up their companies here, they put up their factories here, so that those factories can absorb more of our educated people. It is quite unfortunate for information for those who don't know. We have got so many Kenyans educated without jobs. There are many Kenyans. It is very painful. We have got so many trained teachers in Kenya who hold their degree in education, but they are still at home. It's quite unfortunate. Go to the border. It pains me once again. I have gotten so many border men who tells me, "Kibicho, have a degree." I have a degree in IT. I have a degree in actuarial science. I have a degree in civil engineering. I have a degree in what you call architecture. But getting a job is an issue. Because in Kenya, for you to get a job, you must have what you call the invisible hand. For those who know what I'm talking about, all those people that you see getting employed, there is always an invisible hand. Let me not explain that for now. So promoting connections. We require an individual, even those people at our county levels, they require to make sure that they establish connections that can give lives or can give birth to jobs to our young men and women. So those people being called Gen Z, it is not in their DNA that they go walking out there in protest. They require to be given jobs. When you talk about creating what we call the Silicon Valley, we require to bring the Silicon Valley and ensure that our men and women who have got these competencies and skills are actually absorbed in those particular companies. Point number 4, we require leaders who are open to new ideas and experiments. We have got very young men and women out there who have got crazy ideas, ideas that can totally revolutionize the Republic of Kenya given an opportunity and if properly facilitated. But we have leaders, when they see some gentlemen who are wiser than them, they create a wedge. We have got some leaders in Kenya today who fear even some of us who are educated. And I've been telling people, if you hired me in your office as your junior staff, for instance, and you are the leader in that particular department, I'm not going to occupy your office. By the end of the day, I'll come and give you more ideas that makes you a better leader. And who takes recognition? It is you, not me. I'll come and give, but the leaders that we have today in Kenya, Steve, your language in Yamakanga. Steve, your language in Yamakanga. Please, Steve, you need to identify another forum to go and format your rubbish, not to me. And that's what I say, and I've got no apologies to make. Steve, I never stopped you from going to school. So if you don't understand English, get out of our way. You're also a busybody that I have no apologies to make. And that is Paul Modikivicha talking. I don't entertain nonsense. I have got acute allergy for mediocrity. And Steve, you are such. And I have no apologies to make. I'm not your father, I'm not your mother. Identify a forum of fools where you can go and talk nonsense, but not in my own forum. I have not invited you. You came under your own volition. Can you get out of our forum? You are wasting our precious time. That's a stupid character. So what I'm saying is this, and I have no apologies to make. If you think I'm bad, get out of my way. You are totally inconsequential as far as my life is concerned. I don't entertain nonsense. You cannot come insulting me on my channel. Who are you? Whom do you think you are? Can you take your nonsense elsewhere? I don't entertain nonsense and shit. So let's go back to our point. Yeah, anybody who comes on my way, don't think because I'm a pastor, I'm a very good person. Yeah, a grenade is good until it is detonated. Make no mistake. And I'm not of their character and caliber. Yes, and I say it again. Get out of our way. Get out of my way. And I repeat, and if you think I'm arrogant, I can be. And I have no apologies to make. I'm not your father. Whoever brought you into this universe to take care of you, not you. So, we are talking about open to new ideas. So we have those individuals, and please, if you think that I have been a little bit tough on that man, I have said it on many forums, I don't entertain nonsense. And I repeat it, I don't entertain nonsense. Me, I only bring people who come to my YouTube channel or my TikTok page, they come under their own volition terms. So if anybody thinks that he can come and insult me in my own platform, I am not going to be kind to that person. I'll be very unkind to that person. I have got no space for what we call mediocrity. So, open to new ideas. I was saying, sorry for that interruption by that. Let me not call him imbecile. It's not light. So, open to new ideas. And of course, everybody gets bitter anyway. Yes, even Jesus Christ, you remember what he did in the Bible. Yes. Yes. And if you think I'm proud, Mr. Eriko Kengash, you can also identify a route of exit. This is Kibicho for you, and I have no apologies to make. So open to new ideas. And this far, the Lord has been good. Kiburi nayo. Kama ni kiburi bana, what are you doing on my YouTube channel? What are you doing on my TikTok page? Get out of my way also. Kengash. And I have no apologies. Yes, now you care. Yes. I'm a human being and I've got feelings. I have not invited. By the way, those people watching me, thank you very much for watching me. And you know, I have been a man of modest terms, a man of cadem and decorum. But when somebody speaks in a manner that is going to, we say in English, to cast aspersions unto me, that is where my decorum now comes into. So a leader is one who is open to new ideas. What do I mean by new ideas? I have seen some leaders in my long journey of work, corporate work, who do not entertain men and women who can come up with an idea that may appear as if it is better than theirs. We should not compete in this universe. We should only complement. Yes, you can. Engineer Josh, please, I will make sure that you text me you can text me on my cell phone number 0722 633 Engineer Josh, please, you can do that. Thank you, Mono Maggie. Thank you very much, Maggie Washeli. Thank you very much. Thank you, Kemali. Thank you, Sana. So, I was talking about, I have seen people in the universe, when you come up with an idea, people think that you want to outdo or outshine your boss. We are very much aware, we are alive to the fact that we've been given advices by Mr. Maurice Green, 48 laws of power. But as we observe the 48 laws of power, we can enable our people to become better people. How do we do that? By allowing them to express themselves, because out of expressing themselves, kila kimenikasirisha ni kuniambia Kisungu mingi. Kisungu mingi kwani alinisomesha? Let me not go back there. For those who know me, and I know quite a number of you people know me, I don't have any space for mediocrity. That one I will say. If that is what is going to alter my course in life, so be it. Yes. Then we come to what we call, thank you very much. I can see some, Michael, thank you now. Let me come to point number 5 before I wind up my discussion. Already you can imagine, and those are, I want to encourage my brothers and sisters watching me. If you come across a bump, do not stop your journey there. A bump only informs you that the road ahead is bumpy. The road ahead has got what we call either animals crossing, or the road ahead has a sharp corner. So take care of that. But that does not mean that you have reached your destination. So just take care of those in there. So in case you come across negative people, we have got some people who were born to be anti-development, who were born to be negative criticizers, who were born to be people who are volumes but not value. Like that character is actually a volume. And you know the difference between a volume and a value. No problem. Go ahead. I have given you my number. I need your advice on something. I have given you my number. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. So I've given you my number. Please, you can just text me. I can be able to advise you whatever it is that you want us to discuss on my number 0722 633 So where were we? I was saying point number 5, we require men and women who are committed to the professional and intellectual growth of their people. Like now we have this issue, like now I salute Dr. Mwangi of Equity. Wings to Fly. He has helped many families. And I'm telling you, there is no other way. If you want to know who a leader is, look at what Dr. Mwangi of Equity has done. And if you can't beat competition, you join it. You can even see now many banks are coming up. That's my number, Madam Emily Jehona. That's exactly my 076 021. Note that. Please, I made that number, Emily Jehona. Mine is 0722 633 021. 633 021. So please make sure that you have made that number. So, okay. Now, when we talk about men and women or leaders committed to professional and intellectual growth of his people, it means this is somebody who appreciates education. In Kenya, we have contempt for education. I have repeated this many times, and I will repeat it as long as I live, that in Kenya, we have contempt for education. When I talk about contempt for education, what I mean is that the people who deserve to be in some areas of our development are not the most qualified. They are the most connected, not the most qualified. I'm not going to expound on that point. That the people who are actually in some positions of leadership in Kenya, they are not there by virtue of their competence. They are there by virtue of their connections. And history has taught us in Kenya today that in order for you to be in some sectors of our economy, in order for you to be in some positions of leadership, you must be known by who is who. That is the most unfortunate thing, that we have got some very, very incompetent people handling some very sensitive dockets in the Republic of Kenya because they were propelled there, not because of their value of ideas and the level of their competence, skills, and capacity and capability. It is because of whom they are connected to. And that is why our Kenya today is lagging way behind from Singapore. I feel bad when I hear people actually comparing Kenya with Singapore. I was in Singapore the other day. Yes, I was in Singapore in the year 2020. I think I was in Singapore in 2010. And I'm telling you where Singapore is. Singapore is way far ahead of us. But if I even had the president giving us a comparison of how Singapore became the people they are, anyone who works in Singapore is a military officer, number one. There is no corruption, zero corruption in Singapore. If you go to Singapore International Airport, I think that I remember the name of the airport, Changi or whatever. You cannot go shooing as you cannot shoot a big G. You can't throw any paper. Go to Rwanda here. How far is Rwanda from here? It's a flight of 55 minutes from JKIA to Rwanda International Airport. But they have a very high level of discipline. They do not go throwing papers and whatever, peels of bananas anywhere. In Kenya, look at our motorbikes. How many people have we lost, young men and women, because we do not follow rules? Because we have got rules that are not implemented, we have got laws that are not followed, and we end up losing the huge chunk of people that we lose in these motorbikes are energetic men, young men and women. Why? Because you find a motorbike with more than 5 passengers. I have no problem, but I can say this, in very civilized jurisdictions, you can't see that kind of a thing. I lost my classmate courtesy of a motorbike here at KU. I lost Mr. Douglas Wagura because of the silly mistakes that we do in Kenya. So we are talking about committed. We require to have professionals. If I'm a PS finance, I should have the finance background. We have got no shortage of people with finance background. For instance, that's what I'm saying. If I'm the CS, I should be having I should be a professionally accredited finance person. I should have, if it's a degree, it must be a degree either in finance, in accounting. I should be holding a CPA, certified public accounts, CPA, so I can understand, because the background that I'm operating on demands to have what we call the prerequisite qualifications. Why is it that medical doctors must have gone through a medical school? It is because they are dealing with patients. So we cannot entertain quacks to go operating on patients and dispensing drugs when they have got no medical background. Similarly, our professions should also call for the same. So we require, when people are being assigned specific duties, they should be having the education background. There should be a job description and a job specification which calls attention for those skills. And when I say that, people say Kebisho is complaining because it's not absorbed by the government. I'm talking matters facts and matters of law. So we require leaders who are committed to the professional and intellectual growth of the people that they lead. And they shouldn't see those people as competitors. And let me tell you why we shall continually lag behind. Kenya, hata the elected individual akuwe msuri aje, ile gumi ya tumbo akahonga, atapewa anakusahau. Okay, you see, thank you very much. I like, those are the kind of contributions we want. People who are civil, people who are mature, a person of integrity, a man of character, or a lady of character, a lady of fire, a person of what we call a person beyond reproach. So let me, because I want to find out, I've already taken that 8 minutes. I'm talking about the 5 major themes of competencies. I'm going to once again have a recap of the same. So let me tell you, and I'm saying this, and I'm waiting to see some comments coming from on my platform. I know some people have developed some cold feet because of that individual who actually affected my centrifugal force, or who was able to go and try to stir what we refer to as the epicenter of my thinking capacity. Sometimes we get disoriented as well, but that is it. Such is life. Without those individuals in life, you can't become better. So when you talk about South Korea, you talk about Singapore, When you talk about even Kigali here, Rwanda Kigali, what is it that they do? Can't we borrow a leaf from them? Surely, why should we allow drivers? You find a matatu driver carrying 28 passengers, whereas the capacity for that matatu is 14. Number one, in the event of an accident, how will the insurance determine who is to be paid? Who is the legit? Who is the bona fide passenger in this particular car? And when insurance refuses to pay because they had already contravened the rules and regulations as per the insurance, the contractual obligation, people start saying that insurance men and women are conmen. But they do not own up their own blames. And let me first of all help our matatu drivers. When you actually carry passengers, when you have excess passengers, you are subjecting your car to quite a number of repairs. So you see, the money that you wanted to make will still go to the garage. So why can't you be civil enough, carry the number of passengers, tell them to back their safety belts? You know, you see, Kenyans are very funny characters. Even when Meshuki, may he rest in peace, was there, and he talked about matatu rules, you could see men and women taking that particular belt when they saw a police officer. A police officer is actually on the comforts, he's actually on the ground, and he's actually not as risky as you are in terms of in case of an accident. So we need to graduate from this issue of doing what, or rather trying to, or rather, we should graduate from being superintended. We can superintend ourselves. Sonko had really cleaned Nairobi, even though he stole, I think he tried. We use different parameters in leadership. Let me just answer it like that. We use different parameters. Yeah, in leadership, we have what we call a hierarchy of parameters and pillars that we use to get the leader. So a leader, like if I may give you, or let me not delve into that, but I can give you some parameters that makes a leader to be a good leader. Okay, he did his best, yes. He did his best. Let me just leave it at that without necessarily trying to invade another person's life. So let us see, a good leader should demonstrate strong ethics. Demonstrate strong ethics. We have been, actually, Kenyans, they have been treated all manner of charlatans and shenanigans. We have treated all manner of dramas by our leaders. You can see a leader standing on the podium and even insulting those who are higher than him. And he calls himself a leader. A leader should control what he says. A leader should ensure that his mental faculties are fully engaged before he or she utters a word, because he'll be judged against the word that you utter. And I've been telling people that leaders should be men and women of character and integrity. A leader, once he empowers, should also make sure that he organizes the people that he leads. A leader should always make sure at any given time he nurtures, takes care of those people that he's leading or she's leading. And as I wind up my discussion today, allow me to wind up my discussion by giving you this brief analogy. Kidero could have implemented the 24-hour economy, which I agree. I'm not going to let our governors. Thank you very much for your likes. Thank you very much for your likes. I'm not going to basically say or rather let them, but I tend to think that there are many other, you need to look at an issue from so many angles. Angle number one, you need to ask yourself, one, what was he able to achieve if he achieved anything? Number two, what were his KPIs, key performance indicators? So that's what I was telling my brother there, who was saying that Sonko cleaned Nairobi River. We have what we call the key performance indicators. I do not want to go into that direction. And some of you may be aware that I'm also a management person. So there are so many parameters that we use to gauge somebody. So allow me not, first of all, to go to that direction, but that one you should know. Number two, so a good leader, I think I've already gotten off. I was coming to this point. Let me give you a very practical and real example of how poor leadership destroys progress in families and in countries. Our ladies, with a lot of respect, with tremendous respect to our ladies. My mother is a lady, my wife is a lady, my daughters are ladies as well. with tremendous respect to our women folk. When a woman employs an untrained house manager, how many cups does that lady break by the end of the day? When how many glasses break? How many plates break? All in the name of employing sheep people. Sheep is expensive. Sheep is expensive. So when you basically employ a person without competencies, he becomes a disadvantage to the organization. When you have an MP who is not alive to what requires to be done, he becomes a disadvantage to the constituents. When you have a governor who is not able to lead that particular county in the right direction, who does not know when to say yes and when to say no, who does not know how to prioritize resources based on the urgency and the needs on the ground, he becomes a liability to the people that he leads. So when we bring on board leaders who have no idea what leadership is all about, I'm going to quote a man who said these words and may he rest in peace, Joe Nyaga, the former minister for cooperatives. May he rest in peace. Joe Nyaga said, when we started devolution, there were counties that were far ahead. They had a head start. But in the fullness of time, they were to become last. Haven't you witnessed that today as we speak? So it all depends on whose hands leadership falls. If bad, and I remember the former president, Donald Trump, of Moi, he rest in peace also. Maisha baya, siasa baya. So when it comes to leadership, you need to ask yourself some very, very pertinent questions. Who is this person that I'm bringing on board as a leader? Does this person possess leadership qualities? Is he agile? Is he versatile? Is he charismatic? Is he pragmatic? Is he development conscious? Is he futuristic? Is he a dream creator and achiever? Those are the things that we need to look at. So if we go anything short of that, we allow ourselves to blame. I think I have used a nice illustration. I hope it has met your expectations. At that point, allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to bring this show to a close. So those people wanting to text me, kindly text me on my number. Kindly text because I handle many calls. And I know after this, I'm going to handle quite a number of calls. I can even see some of them coming and I don't like answering a call when we should avoid populist politics. Yes, greetings from such Ruto Nyakalekwa Ruto Nyakalekwa Kenya yetu. Okay, I don't understand that, my brother Hassan. We should avoid populists. Yes. Let's move on. Let me see your remarks before I go. Those people watching me on my YouTube channel, if you have anything to say, I don't mind getting a few. Reject finance bill. Of course, let me comment on the finance bill. Let me comment on finance bill as a scholar. This time, not just a voter, but as a scholar, from a scholarly point of view. We cannot throw the baby. We can't throw the baby with what we call the water from the bathtub. No. The finance bill is not bad per se. There are some areas of the finance bill that are favorable. So it is not everything in the finance bill that is hurting. But we have some portions of finance bill that requires to be adjusted. And I tend to think the key ones are being addressed. And our president was magnanimous enough during his parliamentary group meeting. And I also want to thank the chairman of one of the things. Allow me to comment on this. I have been trying to avoid this. Thank you very much. We are not going. I'm not going to join the choir of rejecting the bill in totality. No, no. This is my position. I'm not going to reject the finance bill in totality. There are portions of the finance bill that are favorable. Like, just to highlight, like what Mr. Honorable Silvana Sosoro said, if we have a bill, if, for instance, we have a portion of a bill that protects our local farmers, I am for that. When I hear them are actually introducing an excise duty on eggs that are being imported from our neighboring countries, that one I give a tick, because that bill is, as far as that element of the bill is concerned, it is protecting our farmer. So why should I say then that part of the bill is bad? But any bill that having what we call VAT tax on bread, I also oppose to that. Having, when talk about the eco levy, and I hear that I'll be buying my car tire at a higher price, or in the name of actually trying to protect the environment, I don't subscribe to that. When I hear, for instance, that the transactions that I'm doing on my Pesa are going to be increased, I don't subscribe to that, because they are going to kill innovation. They are going to kill innovation, and they refer to people back to Homo habilis, Homo sapiens, and Homo erectus, if not Kenapidecus and Jandelopus, where people used to keep their monies on their bed sheets. So I am not for that. When I hear a bill is being brought forth, for instance, to charge the cooking fat or the products for the edible oil, I'm not for that. So there are some parts of the bill that are favoring us. So we cannot just throw the bill into the dustbin, the whole of it. So, and again, I tend to think that for the first time in our history, the public participation contributions, they were factored in. So I think Honorable Kuria Kimani did something. He listened. I think and his team, they listened. It is not good all the time, and I repeat this, it is not good all the time. Remember, I'm also a Kenyan being hurt by this economy. I am also a Kenyan who is even more conscious, more aware, more alive to the challenges, because I have done economics to the challenges that are being brought forth by this finance bill. But I want to remind our fellow Kenyans that we should reject the bill where it is going to hurt Kenyans, the majority of Kenyans. And I'll tell you this again, and this is a very, very unpopular statement. I look forward to a day when the salaries of MPs will be reduced to bare minimums, so that whoever goes to parliament will not go to parliament to enrich himself or herself, will go there to serve people. I'm looking to a day, and this is the point I'm saying. So, well, I have seen some comments that I am not going to repeat. I hate how they have to start what we are sending to lift up. No, that I have also said about it. I agree with it. Thank you very much for your contribution. Now you can engage. What I'm saying is this: even what we call the diaspora remittances should not be taxed, because the diaspora remittances is what actually is helping this economy. So if you continually tax them, it becomes punitive. And what does that one mean? They stop sending money to their Kenyans, and the Kenyans will continue suffering. And Kenyans require that support. So the problem, again, something else. Let me not delve a lot into this. Something else. This bill, it depends. I have had some politicians, I have had some people from the political class saying that the bill has even factored corruption. That is what makes Kenyans to feel bad about it. They should not even increase the bank interests. Yes, because let me make people understand as well. Thank you very much for your contribution. Tatanau. You see, first of all, you have now made me to go to another area that, okay, which is okay. It's good for us to have this discourse. The moment the government of Kenya borrows money, the moment the government of Kenya starts what we call domestic borrowing, it makes the ordinary Kenyans not to access loans, because when the banks lend money to the government, the money is more secure and the exposure is minimal as opposed to given to an individual. So that one also kills businesses, because Kenyans will not be able to access loans. So if they are talking about increasing what we call the interests, that is not very good. But anyway, let me say that I am not going to join the callers personally. No, I refuse. I also refuse to do that. I'm not going to join the callers of saying that we have total rejection for the bill. Can we first of all read the bill? I'm calling upon my colleagues who can be able to go through that particular bill, read the bill, and if you want us to have a class on that one, I can do that. But I can tell you, if this bill reduces taxes on agricultural inputs. I'm for that. If this bill is going to reduce the interest rates on the banks, by making the government must learn to live within its means. That is where the government goes wrong. You budget with what you have. And I have been teaching people very simple commandments of money. Commandment number two, I'm not going to give the commandments number one because we come from different denominational backgrounds. So I'm not going to become a man who is self-centered, egocentric in nature. I say that you pay tithe as the first point in financial literacy. But I'm saying we must learn to live within our means. Why I say that the government is borrowing a lot of money to, we have what we call a debt-funded budget. It's not right to have a debt-funded budget. No, we don't require. Why should we spend? Why are we having a budget and we are factoring in what we call loans that are very, very expensive, not concessional loans, but commercial loans? If we collect 2.1 trillion Kenya shillings, can we do that? And where do we start? Why should we pay an MP 1.2 million shillings while a professor in a university is being paid 250,000 shillings? Why should we pay an MCA 250,000 shillings when a professor is being 250,000 shillings? No, I don't advocate that. Anyway, I thank God for all of you. Let me stop there. We shall continue from there. Anyone who wants to reach me can actually get me on 072 633 021. May you have a good evening. Shalom, shalom, shalom.